And that rickshaw driver says, I waited, and Dr. Sundar Singh took a bata and put dudh in that bata, and he started reciting Gurdwara, and he was stirring it and stirring it and stirring it for the longest time. And he goes, when I finally drank that dudh, something exploded inside me, that light exploded inside of me. That mera naam apne aap chalan lag paya. And then there was a bibi who was sick, and then he goes, I took some water and I started doing Gurdwara and doing the same way Dr. Sundar Singh, I gave it to her, and the effect wore off from me. Which is to say that kamai, that vibration of naam, gets transferred. When we see Sri Amritsar Sahib, that Amrit Jal slogan, why? Because that's 24 hours naam Gurdwara happening there. That has that effect. When you have an Akhand Path Sahib, a lot of people have come there. That's tradition, right? That was because that vibration of Gurdwara gives it some sort of a different nature. This is through experience. Like, if you want me to prove it through science, I can't. But it has something. And if we believe in Amrit, then we have to believe that vibration has an effect. And then finally, Sarblo. Sarblo is a Sresht, the highest medal for us. That Guru Gobind Singh Ji selected it for the preparation of Amrit. There was nothing more precious in Gursikhi than Amrit. And if Guru Sahib selected Sarblo, and that first, when you Shak Amrit, that first deg that you have is also prepared in Sarblo, then Sarblo must have something special in it. And therefore, Sarblo is that rat that we're given. Traditionally, Guru Sahib gave this rat. By Daya Singh Ratnama, there's a book by a person called Bir Singh Bal. He was a contemporary. He also wrote that Guru Gobind Singh Ji talked about that eat out of Sarblo. So this was a tradition that was followed for many years, and we've seemed to have lost it. But it has a very positive effect. For me personally, I can tell you that I've gotten a lot out of it. It lets you control your impulses. It lets you get control of your man in a certain way. Anyways, that's enough about that. Next slide. Love and marriage, we've talked about this a little bit already. Relationships with the opposite gender, be careful. Infatuation versus love. This is a big problem. The person that you think you're in love with is often a creation of your own mind, as opposed to reality. You've created a fallacy, you've taken an image and you populated it with your own ideas of what that person is. And you've fallen in love with essentially yourself, with an illusion. And then you are so disappointed when that person doesn't live up to the illusion that you created. You're not in love with the reality, you're in love with your own mental projection. So, all this wasted time on seeking out that person that you think will fit your mental projection. Imagine if you put that time towards a Kalpo. And keeping your chola spotless, this was something that Guru Sikh used to say, that if you make a mistake in this field, it's a stain. It can be washed away, but it leaves a stain. It leaves an effect. You'll never forget that you made that mistake. If you make that mistake, you'll never forget that you made that mistake. These relationships are as such, once again, I have no words for it, but they mess with your mind. And they will have a negative impact on your jivan. And this is through interactions with hundreds of these cases, that it will have an effect on your jivan. Trust me on this. What's the Gurmat approach to marriage? Look, everyone, it's a natural thing to want to get married. And getting married is a good thing, because it gives you that sangat. It gives you the sangat to do better. That when you wake up at Amrit, it gives you that sharm. It should, at least, that the other person is watching, that we'll be our own check, that we won't get up at, even if we're late, we'll wake up at least by this time. It keeps you on track. It can be a real big gift in your jivan. But what's the right way of doing it? Going out and trying to find a spouse for yourself is a minefield. The right way of doing it, and the way it used to be done, was going to your sangat and saying to the sangat, or a senior Gosek, I want to get married, can you help me find someone? If you want to have a conversation with the person who's being proposed just to see if you have the same wavelength, the same thinking, that's fine. No one's stopping that. But there's no dating in Gursikhi. There's no relationship prior to marriage. I'm not bragging, okay? I don't want it to come off this way, but I'm born and raised here in Canada. I'm educated. The fact of the matter is, I didn't have a conversation with my Singani until after we were married. It worked out fine for me. I have no complaints. And how did I know that this was going to be a good match? Because the Sangat around her, they had a conversation with the Sangat which I was doing Sangat with, and they said, we guarantee that she's going to be fine. Because Sikhi-wise, she's a fine person. I said, okay, then I can put my vishwas on it. The Sangat is giving her guarantee that Sikhi-wise is fine. And what's more important than Sikhi? I'm not interested in someone's career and education. That's great if that's all there. But the most important thing for me is Sikhi, and if that's there, then good. So I'm not some backwards person. I understand all these things, and it worked out. So I would encourage you that if you have faith in the Guru, if you have faith in the Sangat, it'll work out. If you try and overthink things, if you try and use your own mat too much, sometimes it backfires. All right, next slide. Keep going. Keep going until it's all there. Okay, so if we follow Gursikhi, what's the result? Remember how I started? That if you're not feeling that love in your life, if you're not feeling that presence of the Guru in your life, then something is maybe lacking in your Sikhi. But if it's all there, then what is it? It's a two-way road. And Akal Purkh, this is Akal Purkh Vak, that Akal Purkh is speaking directly, first person in Gurdwara. Aap saware main milya sukh hoye, Frida, je tu mera hoye, sab jag tera hoye. This is Akal Purkh speaking in the first person. Okay, aap saware main milya. If you fix yourself, then main mil junga. Akal Purkh saying, you'll meet me. Main milya sukh hoye. If you meet me, then sukh mil junga. You'll get happiness. And then Frida, je tu mera hoye hai. Frida, je tu mera ho jaye na. If you become mine, sab jag tera hoye. Everything is yours. Man jeet hai, jag jeet. If you won your mind, everything else is yours. In my interactions, in my observations, those Gursikhs that have Gursikhi, that have that relationship with Guru Sahib, their life works itself out. Their job works itself out. All the details Guru Sahib fixes himself because he wants you, that Gursikh, to have that focus on him. That if that relationship is there, then all the details will fix themselves. And that's that faith that Sikh has. If I love you, then you love me, and then you will fix everything for me. And if that Sikh is giving his head to the Guru, and that's the highest, there's nothing more that you can give than your head, right? Then the Guru is saying everything is yours too. I mean, what did Guru Gobind Singh Ji give to us? Right? Kehna saukhaya, to lose, like it's very difficult to see your own child get a needle and cry. Very difficult. Guru Gobind Singh Ji with his own eyes watched his two older sons be cut to pieces on the battlefield with his own eyes. He gave all four of his sons. He was willing to give that for his Gursikhs. And when Paidya Singh says, can I put a chadar at least on the bodies? Because if you put a chadar on all my sons, then yeah. That's the pyar the Guru has for you. Right? So, once you have that pyar, then what happens? That what if my body is cut from piece to piece? That if I were to lose that pyar with you, then I would be afraid. That if I lost that pyar, because Gursikhi gives you something that no one can take away. That like the story of Bhai Anok Singh is very important for me. That he had that naam inside him. You can take away the person's material goods. You can take away their clothes. You can take everything away. But you can't take that naam. No one can take that naam out of you. Jal nahi doobe, taskar nahi lena. Pahina sakya jala. Right? No one can steal it from you. If you have that relationship with the Guru, that's yours. No one can take it. And then Bhai Anok Singh is cut from piece to piece. His eyes are put out. And his biggest concern is He asked the sentry, the guard, is it Kinne Majige? Rera Sahib time. I have to do Rera Sahib. He can't stand up, his body's broken, his eyes are not there. And his concern is, I have to do my Rera Sahib. There's another saying that they talk about. His spine was broken and they had him just hanging up from a wall. He's just hanging there. And his name's Karamjit Singh. Karamjit Singh says, I went to that Singh and I said, can I do anything for you? And that Singh just said, my Ganga's on the floor, can you put my Ganga back in my case? He's the only thing that goes between that Gursikh, in that Gursikh's mind is how am I maintaining my love with my Guru, right? And the Guru on the other side, he gives that shopa to that Gursikh. The Gursikh is being taken care of every instant. So as you move closer to the Guru, those divine qualities start to come out of you. Like people say you should be a good person. You can't genuinely be a good person if you don't have that khajana of good qualities in you. If you aren't accessing that sarovar, that reservoir of good qualities inside you through Naam, then it's just superficial. They can be taken away. But as you become closer to your Guru, then those divine qualities of compassion, of santokh, of parupakar, they start to manifest themselves. You become a better person because of your Gursikhi. And this is my experience with a lot of Gursikhs. They'll say that if I were on my own merits, I would be a horrible person. But once I found the Guru, those qualities started coming out. True Anand. And once again, we've already talked about this. That true Anand that is given by the Guru can't be taken away. All right, next slide. In Sukh we talk about how the Gursikh is taken care of by the Guru. Satguru Sikhi kare prashwal sevako ko sada dayal Sikhi ko dur matmal hiray gurbati ka naam uchra. There's a whole list of things the Guru is doing for the Gursikh. That the Gursikh is actively being taken care of by the Guru. Alright, next slide. So the final destination. This is a journey, right? As you're moving forward on that journey, eventually, at some point, you want to have that darshan of Akal Purkh Vaheguru inside of yourself, that Jyot Vigas inside of yourself. Gurmati Kat Janana Naam Ant Sakai. That you want to have that experience of that divine light, that experience of Pratakha darshan of Akal Purkh Vaheguru inside you. My biggest challenge when I was a young person was that this seemed too abstract. That what does it mean that having oneness with God? What does being one with God mean? It made no sense to me. It didn't make any sense. And I used to ask people, what is Naam? Is it the same as Gurbani? None of it made sense. And it made sense through an experience. I was sitting in a library. It was a Gurdwara library. I was waiting for someone. I had to go, so I was waiting. And I leaned back, and there was a bookshelf behind me. So I leaned back, and I randomly just actually took a book out. And I took the book out, and it was the autobiography of Payantis. Next slide. This book gave me the answer that I was looking for. So Payanti Singh was, I'm sure many of you are familiar with. This book has been an immense inspiration in my life. So I'm going to share something from it with you. So these are called jail chithiyan. These were letters that Payanti Singh wrote to his friend about his experiences while in prison. And he talks about his early life. And one of those experiences is that experience of that Akali Jyot, that having that darshan of Vaheguru. And once I read this, it made perfect sense. I actually ended up spending the entire night finishing the book in one reading. Next. Just get it over there. Okay. Even if we don't have it. What I'll say is this, that book, he describes that experience of Vaheguru in a way that's actually concrete. That he's doing Simran, and when he thinks that, why would Akal Purkh Vaheguru give me darshan? That who am I? That I'm not worthy of it anyways. That from within himself, that Jyot manifests itself, and then that's all around. And that he feels like he can float, and actually lifts him off the ground. So this is in that actual autobiography. I would encourage you to read it, because you won't find many examples of someone actually describing what that experience of Vaheguru is, because it's impossible to describe. right? You can't describe that divine experience. But for me, it gave me that understanding, that hope, that this is possible. It's not an abstract thing, that this happens. So that's something for me, anyways, to live up to. So after all of this talk, what do I want you to take away? Once again, I'm not here as a pracharak, I'm not here as an inspiration. All I hope this does is gives you room to think, room to look within yourself and say, what can I do to get myself closer to the Guru? And if you're already close to the Guru, great. But by Gurdas, he describes it like this: Chan Shan Gur Ek Panda Jai Chan, Sadgur Kot Panda Aage Hoye Det Hai. That if you walk one step towards the Guru, then the Guru will come a million steps to come get you. But it starts from that one step from you. It just starts from that one act of love, right? Don't worry about it, it's fine. Okay, so I'm just going to read a little bit out of this then. A strange and unbearable sweet blazing light began to shimmer with all its splendor within me and outside me. The next moment I saw the light pervading the whole atmosphere. My eyes were closed, my hands were clasped. By the force of some unseen power, I was lifted up till I touched the roof. Keeps going. I now acquired a wonderful inner spiritual vision and strange inner eyes. This wonderful experience was almost unbearable. I tried to stop the repetition of the divine Naam, hoping that by doing so I may be relieved a little of this overwhelming experience. Even the repetition of Naam had now become a spontaneous spiritual contemplation. It did not stop even when I made an effort to do so. So I did not in the least expect that my strange beloved, my Lord God, with his unfathomable powers, would miraculously appear within my own self and reveal himself on the altar of my heart. So this is just excerpts, but this really made it real. Next slide. So like I said, take a step. If you look at your jivan and you go home today and you say, I want to do this, then that'll be one step. And if it's with the pure intention, then the Guru will walk a million steps to help you along the path. It doesn't take much. Like I tell the story, one Gursikh's journey towards Gursikhi. It started with one simple thing, that he's sitting in the Bar Sahib with his family, and he's listening to the Kirtan, and he matha takes every time, like a ritual, right? And he actually said to himself this once, contemplating, do I really want to matha take? Do I really want to give my head to the Guru? And then as he's leaving the Bar Sahib, he actually puts his head down and matha takes and says, Guru Sahib, I'm actually giving you my head today. This is yours. And from now on, it's up to you to pull me on the right path. And that started his journey in Gursikhi. That was it. So it takes that one pure intention, and the Guru will always reward that with more than could be expected. Because the Guru is Dayal that way, right? Very merciful that way. So once again, I hope you get something out of this. You at least think about some of that I've described, and hopefully Guru Sahib does Kripa on all of us, myself included, that we can live up to the standards that he's lived, and we can hopefully have that experience of that Vyah. Right? Anything else? ठीक है जी, वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह.
Just before, if there's any chance, you could even ask in person.